Good morning. My name is Ron Krueger, and I am the commander of American Legion Post 189 here in Watertown. Today marks the armistice of 1918 that ended the fighting in World War I. Every year on Veterans Day, at the 11th hour of the 11th day in the 11th month, we honor a special group of Americans who risked life and limb to preserve the American way of life. This year, thanks to the cooperation from Mayor McFarland and the local cable TV, Watertown Cable TV, we are able to present this program keeping socially distanced and not drawing a large crowd together. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we are doing this with the safety of all people in mind. So with that, I will introduce Ward Gens, who is the chaplain of Post 189, for our opening prayer. Ward.
Lord, we humbly come before you this day. We ask that our prayer be one of praise and adoration to a God of goodness and love. On this Veterans Day, we remember those who made the supreme sacrifice. Words cannot express the love and the gratitude of a grateful nation. The honor due to these who gave all. We also appreciate those now healing, those who serve all over the world. Bless our veterans here today. May we never forget their service. As our country's coins display, in God we trust. May it be so, always. Amen.
Thank you, Ward. Please remain standing. We will not have the ability to play the national anthem today, but we will pledge allegiance to the flag. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Webster's dictionary defines the word sacrifice as the act of giving up something that you want to keep, especially in order to get or do something else or to help someone. When you ask young men and women to endure great hardships, drastically change their lifestyles, and possibly give up their lives for you, the words thank you seem inadequate. Without our veterans, America would not be America. Our country needs our veterans, and our veterans need our support. Our veteran organizations exist because veterans need each other. Most veterans will tell you that the military has made them better Americans. Not all veterans have seen war, but a common bond that we all share is an oath in which they pledged a willingness to die defending this nation. While we are happy to be here today to express our appreciation for our veterans, true appreciation is expressed through deeds, not words. Veterans don't ask for much. When a veteran group member asks for a donation for a poppy or other donation, remember the veteran in a hospital bed. When a member of Congress complains about the cost of veterans programs, remind him of the cost of being a veteran. We must never forget their families' sacrifices. We must honor these families not just with blue and gold star banners, but with open hearts and helping hands. Please remember to thank today's service members for the sacrifices that they and their families are making for America. Simply put, we owe them a debt that can never be repaid. God bless you all for being here. We're proud to be Americans. It is now my honor to introduce Mary Petrie, who is the president of the American Legion Auxiliary, squad, well, for post 189. Mary?
Thank you, Commander. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to visit the Union Grove Veterans Home. Two signs were posted in a simplistic yet touching POW MIA display, now forever etched in my mind. The first, their duty was to serve. The second, our duty is to remember. Today is Veterans Day, a day specially designated to honor all whose duty it was to serve, a day to remember the selfless sacrifices made for us. If you have been privileged to hear some of these heroes' stories, you know they range from easily shared comical to teary and heart-wrenching. For those still carrying scars, may you find peace. For those reminiscing, may those moments be filled with good memories. For all, may every day be special, overflowing with celebration and thanks. To all who wore the uniform, you are heroes. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. God bless, and God bless America. It is now my pleasure to introduce our Mayor, Emily McFarland.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today, albeit in a different way, to honor the incredible sacrifice and bravery of the roughly 21 million veterans in the United States. In times that are beyond the imagination of many, and in a year really like no other, whether it be the COVID pandemic with the deaths of nearly 240,000 Americans, or the wildfires that have ravaged our country, whether it be the tornadoes that ripped through the South in the spring, or the national exposure to racial injustice, whether it be the devastation of the major hurricanes that have hit our shores, or even the murder hornets, I am reminded that in our darkest days, there is one thing that, despite the tragedy and difficulties of 2020, still lights a fire inside of me, and that is our freedom. That freedom stems from the profound sacrifice of our veterans, some of which I have the privilege of standing with today. As we struggle to maneuver through a year that really has taken its toll in so many ways, we are all searching for a path. And today, on Veterans Day, I would encourage you all to look at the path already laid for us. A path of service, a path of greatness, a path paved by our veterans. On this path, you will see incredible sacrifice for the greater good. And on this path, you will see service above oneself. And on this path, you will find courage, bravery, and a willingness to go above and beyond. So today, when you feel like you just can't take one more ask, when you just don't want to continue like we have been in 2020, I would encourage you to stop and to think back on that path and reflect on the service, sacrifice, bravery, and willingness of the veterans throughout this country and to persevere. They have given so much to us. It is our turn to honor that example through our actions. The greatest path that there is to follow is service above oneself, a powerful example that was paid for with the commitment and capacity of our veterans. As Americans and as Watertownians, we have been tested to be diplomatic, to be unselfish, to balance our own desires with those of the greater good. Let today be a reminder to you that so many heroes, when faced with fear, adversity, disagreement, or discomfort, overwhelmingly chose the benefits of the greater good over their own comfort. They chose service to their country over service to themselves. They knowingly gave of themselves and in turn missed out on birthdays, holidays, births, weddings, and so much more for you and me to stand here and live in the freest of free worlds. Please, today of all days, don't waste that sacrifice. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. I have had really the dream come true moment of being afforded the opportunity to speak on these important days. And the one thing I always say, and I will say it again, is I ask you to please join me in living lives worthy of the sacrifices of our veterans. And when the tides get too strong, Harken back to today and remember there is no fight we will fight this year that is greater than those fought by the veterans in this country. That much-needed perspective is a sobering reminder to me and hopefully to you that this too shall pass. I am thankful to our veterans for all they have given and continue to give. Simply by remembering the sacrifice and service of our veterans, our community compass can be stabilized. The tides can recede just a bit because we are reminded that a country, a state, or even a city always perseveres because of the fearlessness of the few. As George W. Bush once said while speaking about the war on terror, because of the work of our veterans, we will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's now my honor to introduce, and we will be dedicating 41 pavers today that have been placed in Veterans Memorial Park. And to dedicate those pavers, I'm going to call on Mark Kottwitz. Mark is the commander of AMVETS Post 35 here in Watertown. He's the commander of District 7 in the state of Wisconsin, and he's also the judge advocate for the state of Wisconsin. Mark, if you would please come up and dedicate the papers.
Thank you, Ron. It's my honor to read off these names of the new pavers that have gone in this year. Dennis Johnson has stepped down as the paver coordinator, and I've decided to take over for him. And I hope that I can do as good a job as he did for the next several years until I decide to retire. These pavers were all put in on the southwest walkway at Veterans Park, with the exception of 3 that are put on the southeast side. These are in no particular order, and I hope I pronounce everything right. A1C Willard Boder, U.S. Air Force, 1952 to 1956, Korea War era, Weatherman, Germany. RM2 Michael English, U.S. Navy, 1963 to 1969, Class A Radio School, Bainbridge, Maryland. Comstock, Kodiak, Alaska, USS Lofberg, DD 759. BM Mark L. Gallert, U.S. Navy, 1971 to 1975, Vietnam era, USS Raleigh, LPD-1. Spec 3 Edgar Grossnick, U.S. Army, 1953 to 1955, Battery C, 3rd Battalion, Mail Clerk, Korea, Germany. Spec 4 Ruth Grossnick, WAC, U.S. Army, 1958 to 1961, 513th Military Intelligence Group, Crypto, Germany. PFC Edward B. Grossnick, U.S. Army, 1957-1959, peacetime. PFC Arnold C. Grossnick, U.S. Army, 1953 to 1954, Korea War. Corporal Leroy J. Grossnick, U.S. Army, 1952-1954, Korea, 35th Infantry Regiment, Combat Infantry Medal, 3 stars. Spec 4 Roger Rollins, U.S. Army, 1962 to 1964, Fort Knox, driver, marksman. PFC Troy A. Pozerski, U.S. Army, Panama, 11 BH-1, 1P, U.S. paratrooper. PFC Otto August Berndt, U.S. Army, World War I, Company C, 29th Machine Gun Battalion. Corporal Lee J. Holtzgreave, United States Marine Corps, 1966-1972, Vietnam War, 69 to 1970. PO3 Donald E. Zilmer, U.S. Navy. 1951, 1955, crew S2F, ASW aircraft, Italy, Malanta, and England. Staff Sergeant Henry W. Riedemann, U.S. Army, World War II, 1941 and 1943. Company A, 192nd Tank Corps, Conjure Baton, Baton Death March, KIA, 13044, Japan Transport Ship. PFC George E. Thompson, U.S. Army, World War II, 1943 to 1944, 106th Infantry Division, Nazi Stalag 9, Germany, POW Germany, died in 1945 in the POW camp. PFC Merland A.F. Blank, U.S. Army, World War II, 1943 to 1945, Bronze Star and Purple Heart. COX Lyle Busky, U.S. Navy, World War II, 1942 to 1946, Omaha Beach. AO2 Thompson L. Wicker, U.S. Navy, Vietnam, 1965 to 1969, USS Forrestal, CV-59, USS Intrepid, CV-11. Sergeant First Class Michael A. Wagner, U.S. Army, Special Forces, Green Beret, 2009 to current. Sergeant Caleb Robasek, U.S. Army, 2010 to 2018, Operation Enduring Freedom, Army Commendation Medal. Spec 5 Paul G. Strike, U.S. Army, Vietnam, 1968 to 1970, Aviation, SOC training. Spec 5 Paul G. Strike, U.S. Army, Vietnam. I already read that, sorry. Tech 4 Merlin E. Strike, U.S. Army, World War II. PFC Donald H. Perkel, U.S. Army, 1956 to 1958. Spec 4 Stanley C. Curl, U.S. Army, 1963 to 1965, Vietnam, 1st Infantry Division, Light Vehicle Driver, Good Conduct Medal. Reuben G. Kottwitz, Corporal, U.S. Army, Korea. Combat Infantry, 1952 to 54. 25th Division, 35th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Battalion, Company K. Private David D. Drager, U.S. Army, World War II, 36th Infantry, 5th Army, Anti-Tank Company, Salerno, Italy, KIA Salerno, 9-9 in 1943. Corporal Robert Kohler, U.S. Army, 1941 to 1942, 32nd Division, New Guinea, KIA, 1942, Battle of Buna. PFC Edwin O. Wendt, U.S. Army, World War II, 1943 to 44, KIA, Italy. Sergeant Ronald R. Wendt, U.S. Air Force, World War II, 1942 to 1945. Chief Warrant Officer 4, Walter A. Wendt, U.S. Army, career, 1948 to 1978, served in Germany and Korea. Sergeant Arnold O. Wendt, U.S. Army, World War II, 1945, U.S. Army, Korea, 1948 to 52. Specialist Scott W. Pozarski, U.S. Army, 1983 to 85, 11B, 2B, Mechanized Infantry. Sergeant Milford W. Fuchs, U.S. Marine Corps, Korean War, 1951 to 53, Purple Heart, 2 gold stars. Staff Sergeant Shannon D. Keller, U.S. Air Force, 1997 to 2005, Barksdale Air Force Base. First Sergeant Melody Knotts, U.S. Marines, 1981 to 2001, First Woman Marine, Marksmanship Instructor, First Woman Marine to wear the Smoky Bear cover. PN2 Richard A. Eckert, U.S. Navy, 1966 to 1970, U.S. Navy Base, Gulfport, U.S. Navy Base, Argentina, Newfoundland. Sergeant Gordon Custer, U.S. Army, 1960 to 1966, 32nd Red Arrow Division Infantry, Berlin Crisis. E5 Harvey Miller, U.S. Army, 1958, 1963, Fort Lewis, Washington, Berlin Crisis. MM-1C Gilbert E. Cresson, U.S. Navy, 1943-1945, Normandy Landing, Victory Medal, European Theater Operation 1-Star, Philippine Liberation Medal. PFC James E. Erickson, U.S. Army, 1953-1955. RD-2 Thomas D. Barty, U.S. Navy, 1950-1954, Radioman Second Class, USS Eversole, DD 789. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and you're allowed to take a deep breath right now. I also want to thank all of the families and loved ones of the veterans that dedicated these pavers to their veteran. If we have plenty of room for many more pavers in Veterans Memorial Park, I believe we've got, how many right now, Mark? Over 500? It's over 500. And they are $150 each. And any veteran post member can help you fill out the paperwork and get your paver dedicated. We try and dedicate them on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. And of course, this year, things got a little delayed with the COVID. So if you care to remember a veteran, contact any one of us, and or contact the American Legion Post, the AMVETS Post, the Marine Corps League, Chamber of Commerce, and the VFW, and we will get you on your way to getting a paver dedicated. Firing Squad Commander, please prepare for the salute. Thank you all again for taking time out of your busy lives to join us this morning for this ceremony. Normally, in normal times, we would invite all veterans and their spouses to the American Legion Post for a brief luncheon, but because we are trying to follow our health department, the county health department, the state health department, the governor's request to maintain social distancing and keep groups down to a bare minimum, we will surpass that for this year. And God willing, we will have a cure on its way for Memorial Day when we can continue our lives in a more normal way. But thank you all again for joining us today. God bless you all for being here, and thank a veteran for their service. Thanks.